In this video, we're going to talk about how the nature of war in the world has changed. Is there anyone behind the scenes of war who can actually stop it? Because honestly, the wars that have happened in the world throughout the years, up until World War I and II, when a war broke out, the major powers would just go at it, shooting at each other directly. Armies would clash head-on. You could clearly see who was on whose side, who was fighting whom, and who was allied with whom, right? But nowadays, war hasn't disappeared. It hasn't ended. War is still here. It's just that the nature of war has changed. It's become more fragmented, smaller, and it now takes place in smaller countries. But are the ones benefiting still the same major powers? Especially with the way wars are happening these days. Okay, they're smaller and more fragmented, but the destructive power is still huge. What's important is that there are certain points where, when I look at them, I feel like, wait, is this really just a conflict between a few countries? Or is it all interconnected, almost as if it was designed that way? For example, take South Asia. If you look at it, starting from here, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar, it runs right through our country, Thailand and Cambodia, then continues through Indonesia, the Philippines, and all the way to Taiwan, which really gives me chills. It's like this line was designed on purpose, because this line of conflict perfectly encircles China. In this clip, we're going to look at why the people who create wars do it, why they're fighting, and who's really behind it all. And for us as ordinary people, is there any way that we can survive? If you'd like to support the information behind the scenes of the war, you can do so via this QR code. Or if you want to support the Try Money Monster channel, it's super easy. Just hit like, share, and leave a comment to chat and have fun with us. But what I'd really appreciate the most is if you could hit subscribe for me. And if you feel like, hey, just sitting and watching Try on Money Monster and chatting isn't enough, I actually have another channel, Happy Monster. There we go out, travel, and find things to do that make us happy. So please subscribe to that channel too. Please subscribe for me too. Thank you. Okay, today we're definitely going to talk about war. So before we get started, I want to invite you to think for a moment. What do you think the great powers, those countries that fought each other during World War I and II, were thinking? What made them fight so fiercely, to the point where everything was destroyed? How angry did they have to be to end up in a world war? Honestly, the answer isn't that complicated. It's just that, as a superpower, right? I know I'm big, and I want to be the only one who's great. You can't be as powerful as I am. It's all about showing off power and capability. I'm the one who's at the very top, the most powerful in this region. That means if I get the chance and I see that you're about to catch up to me, the moment I get that opportunity, I have to take you out. Otherwise, you'll end up competing for the same resources as me. It's not like we can both be rich together. I'm rich, you're rich, but we can't both be rich in the same way. That's why there has to be war. This is the kind of scenario we've seen throughout history. War, right? World War I and World War II were basically about superpowers rising up, with one side against the other. You had to declare whose side you were on, make it clear. Then they'd send in their armies to fight, straightforward and obvious, just like that. You knew exactly who was doing what. Everything was direct and out in the open. The way two countries wanted to go to war was just to send their soldiers to fight each other. That's what humans have been doing for thousands of years. Until after World War I and then World War II, those were the greatest wars in human history, the biggest ever on this planet. And World War II really showed just how much destructive power humans had reached by that point. The devastation was too much, too intense, too advanced, especially because of technology. The nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb, was dropped on Hiroshima. Instantly, over 100,000 people died, and after that, hundreds of thousands more suffered severe injuries and eventually died as well. People saw just how terrifying it was, way too frightening. Right now, there are more than 12,000 nuclear bombs in the world. If World War III ever happens, like Einstein once said, I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War will be fought with sticks and stones. It's actually very possible, or maybe even impossible, because if World War III breaks out and all those 12,000 nuclear bombs are actually used, who knows if this planet would even survive? They have the destructive power to wipe out all living things completely. If you want to learn more about nuclear weapons, I've made several episodes on that topic, and I'll put the links for you. So if anyone's thinking, wow, with the US and China, the #1 and #2 powers, facing off like this, why don't they just go ahead and shoot at each other and get it over with? They won't do it because there are already examples from World War II showing that with technology this advanced, humanity now has destructive power that's just far beyond our control. Why would they ever want to launch devastating attacks on one another's nations? Why should I sacrifice my own land and let it get destroyed? Why should I sacrifice my own people? That's why it seems like the superpowers have completely ceased attacking each other directly. Have they really stopped fighting? Not really. They're still fighting, still causing destruction, but in more indirect ways. One of the tools they use is fighting through smaller countries by giving support, money, weapons, and even military aid, basically supporting wars in other places. This is called a proxy war. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm about to explain something related to this. Conflict, violence, and clashes around the world can be categorized, and I've gathered this information from the UCDP Department of Peace and Conflict Research. Let's start with this graph. This graph shows the conflicts, or ongoing disputes, happening around the world right now. It covers the period from the end of World War II, so from 1946 up to 2023, according to the data in the graph. As you can see, interstate wars between countries, seem pretty rare, right? And that's true. Interstate wars are few and far between. You can see that the black bars, which represent interstate wars, are really short, barely there. So from the end of World War II up until now, wow, the world seems pretty peaceful, doesn't it? But this is actually the trend that's changed. Interstate wars are something people have basically stopped doing. You'll notice that the major powers, they don't fight each other anymore, not since after the war. Since World War II, it might seem like if we only count wars between countries, interstate wars, it would look like the world is super peaceful, but that's not really the case. The trend that's happened since World War II is actually this: the red bars above the black ones, which are called intrastate wars. In parentheses, it says internationalized, meaning these are civil wars or internal conflicts that get support from foreign countries. You can see that intrastate wars starting from around 2008. Oh, wow. These instances have increased quite significantly over time. Intrastate war, in parentheses, internationalized, this is what is formally and officially recognized as a proxy war. The core principle or method behind a proxy war is to deliberately spark and fuel internal conflicts within smaller countries, ideally those located in close proximity to the primary target. You can stir up almost any kind of conflict, whether it's a civil war, right? You can create political conflict by supporting certain political groups or backing protesters here and there, and you don't even have to reveal who's behind it. You can do it all secretly. This leads to poverty and causes people to suffer from hunger. The more people are poor and hungry for a long time, the worse their living conditions get. The better the outcome will be. Because when those people can't take it anymore, or when they finally reach their breaking point, it turns into a riot. And who knows, maybe that riot was actually orchestrated to happen at that exact moment. Was that final straw really just a coincidence, or was it all part of a proxy war? And when conflict breaks out, what follows is that it creates vulnerabilities that come from division among the people in the country, whether they're from different political parties, different social classes, or different groups. And then the superpowers will pick sides, deciding which side to support. Sometimes they might even support both sides. How they support them doesn't really matter, as long as it gets people fighting each other. And the ways they provide support can be anything you can think of: sending money, sending people to train them, giving knowledge, sharing techniques, or supplying firearms. Or providing training, anything goes. The country where the war actually happens is called a proxy. The countries that intervene are called patrons, meaning outside powers who interfere. These can be any countries, any superpowers. And nowadays, it's not just 2 or 3 blocks. There are many, which makes things even more confusing. What patrons or these outside interveners do is use whatever disputes are happening inside the country, big or small, it doesn't matter, as an excuse to get involved. They can amplify the issue to make it seem like a much bigger conflict, turning it into a representative dispute on a larger scale. And many times, you'll see international organizations getting involved and playing a role in these domestic disputes as well. This is actually a huge advantage for the patrons, or the superpowers that intervene and use this proxy war method, because no matter what happens or how things turn out, whether they succeed or not, the patrons can always claim they're not involved, that they didn't do anything, and they don't have to sacrifice their own people. There's no need to send their own citizens out to fight, no need to give up their own land or have their own territory destroyed by warfare. Plus, they can control the level of violence in another country. And in the end, they can just say they're not involved and don't have to share in the costs or damages caused by the war at all. This method is really the ultimate. For example, proxy wars that have happened in world history, let's take the period from 1947 to 1991, which was the Cold War era between the United States and the Soviet Union. It's called the Cold War because they weren't actually shooting at each other directly. Instead, they fought using this kind of method, proxy wars. Both the United States and the Soviet Union would choose which countries they wanted to support or sponsor. So how did they get these countries to fight each other? It's like they kept score on a map, using other countries as their playing field for these battles. But the real winners or losers were actually the players behind the scenes, the United States and the Soviet Union. A clear example is the US supporting South Korea, while the Soviet Union backed North Korea, which led to the Korean Peninsula War from 1950 to 1953. And the lasting impact and consequences from then until now? Okay, the Korean Peninsula War technically came to an end many decades ago. They signed an armistice agreement on July 27, 1953, which ended the Korean War. But the status between North and South Korea, even as we look at the situation today, is still just a ceasefire. There's never been a permanent peace treaty signed between them. Another clear example of a proxy war is found in Congo. Even though Congo is a country that's incredibly rich in natural resources, it remains extremely poor, one of the prime examples of a failed state in Africa. Ever since Congo first gained independence in 1960, the Soviet Union stepped in to provide political support, backing Patrice Lumumba as the prime minister. He was the first prime minister of Congo, and at that time, the United States also got involved, supporting the army chief named Joseph Mobutu. Eventually, Joseph Mobutu took control of the country and ruled for a very long time, from 1965 all the way to 1997. During Mobutu's rule, his government was both dictatorial and highly corrupt, and all those vast resources in Congo were basically never used to develop the country. It was never used to benefit the people, to help them make a living. Instead, it was sent off to the United States and Western countries. This went on until violence broke out in 1997, when Congo entered the First Congo War and then the Second Congo War, which is also called the African World War. At that time, 9 other African countries got involved, and millions of people lost their lives. The impact? The involvement of patrons or superpowers interfering in Congo's politics has left deep wounds and damage that run very deep, even up to the present day. This has turned Congo into a failed state of Africa because of internal political problems combined with interference from superpowers. As for what I mentioned at the beginning about the conflicts that happen in small countries, which are in South Asia and completely surround China, as I mentioned at the beginning. There are both proxy wars and civil wars. Let's go back to this graph. Civil war is an internal conflict within a country, usually caused by internal pressures. The blue color represents civil wars. Civil wars are the most common type of conflict in the world since the end of World War II. For example, in Nepal, which recently experienced one, because the Nepalese people have been suppressing their frustrations since in 2008, after the monarchy in Nepal was overthrown, it led to a new political era. But this so-called new politics has never really been good. There have been countless changes in government, and the people have never had a decent quality of life. This has forced the younger generation in Nepal to flee the country just to survive. And the only way they can make it is by sending money they earn from working abroad back home. As a result, in Nepal, 30% of the GDP comes from money that is from abroad. And because people are still living in poverty with such poor living conditions and no jobs available in the country, they have to go abroad and send money back home. But at the same time, there are images of politicians' children flaunting their luxurious lifestyles on social media. This has sparked a lot of anger, and that's how the Nepal Kids movement started. After this movement gained traction, the government made a major mistake, which was ban social media. This fits exactly with the theory. Years of pressure from poverty and deprivation, and then the final straw was when the government banned social media. That pushed Gen Z in Nepal to rise up. They started riots and even set politicians' houses on fire. It got to the point where the wife of one politician died. Now, both the prime minister and the president of Nepal have resigned, and the military has taken over the government. At this point, we have to keep following what happens next. Because if we go by the principles of proxy war, when a country faces internal conflict, it will remain a civil war as long as there are no foreign patrons intervening. But in this case, we'll have to keep watching. Still, this is a huge lesson. Those who govern a country, if they keep ruling corruptly, keep being corrupt, and keep ignoring the well-being of the people, that can't go on forever, because the people should have a limit to how much they can endure to live peacefully as well. Now, back to the topic of proxy wars, especially those involving China. We can see that, okay, Nepal is still in a civil war right now, but countries that have definitely experienced proxy wars include Pakistan and Myanmar, where there has been foreign intervention. As for the recent conflict between Thailand and Cambodia, that wasn't a proxy war. It was a border dispute. But before that, during the Cold War era, the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia was actually a proxy war. But the current conflict between Thailand and Cambodia, if we leave any loopholes, those gaps could allow patrons, meaning foreign interveners, to step in. This is something we'll have to keep an eye on. Next, the Philippines. The Philippines is also a proxy war, specifically between China and the United States in the South China Sea. If anyone wants to know more details about this, I've already talked about it in my South China Sea video. After you finish this one, you can go check that out. As for this line here, which is a proxy war that I think, wow, is the clearest and has the highest chance of really blowing up, and that's Taiwan. Because in Taiwan, of course, the United States supports Taiwan for its own interests, especially with the chip manufacturing company called TSMC. The United States not only sells weapons to Taiwan, but also has military bases there and provides all kinds of military support. But at the same time, they quietly collect money from China, which sees Taiwan as one of its provinces. To put it in Thai terms, China sees Taiwan as just another province of China. So China is not happy at all with the United States intervening and supporting Taiwan to this extent. As for what China does in response, so have they done anything yet? Well, it seems they have, because while China says they're doing nothing, they are actually holding military drills all around Taiwan, firing rounds back and forth. China has already officially announced that by 2027, they plan to invade Taiwan. Now, looking at this proxy war strategy, it is very clear that America's foreign policy is centered entirely on intervention in the internal affairs of other countries, whether that means sending weapons, supporting troops, or getting involved in wars, they'll do it all. But if it's China, it's different. China's foreign policy, as publicly stated, is that China does not interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. China focuses only on trade. So what China does, okay, maybe they won't send troops to intervene, but that doesn't mean China isn't doing anything, because the way China operates is by focusing on trade, right? So China can control others through trade. For example, when China launched the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, they built infrastructure in other smaller countries. And the way China controls those countries isn't through military force, but by saddling them with massive amounts of debt instead. Basically, it's Chinese debt and it keeps piling up until those countries are exhausted. Now, everything I've just explained doesn't necessarily mean that World War III is about to happen or anything like that. Essentially, this signifies that the world's infrastructure is changing, and the benefits that exist in the world are being deliberately steered to end up in the hands of a specific group of privileged individuals. The way to pull those benefits toward oneself is by keeping the population of a particular country impoverished, malnourished, and utterly desperate for as long as possible, which creates ongoing political instability and internal conflict, causing the people in that country to fight among themselves, creating a loophole for patrons or foreign superpowers to intervene. Once they intervene, they immediately extract the benefits for themselves. This method is a way to pull resources into their own country without having to fight, shoot, or sacrifice anything of their own, because all the destruction happens in the proxy country. So when it comes to the way out for ordinary people like us, though it's not easy and actually quite difficult, is unity.